Nearly 2 decades ago, television introduced us to one of the most complex and chilling anti-heroes ever seen, Dexter Morgan. By day, he was a seemingly ordinary bloodspatter analyst. By night, he gave in to a darker urge, hunting down those who had escaped justice. Over the years, audiences watched him balance the line between hero and monster, never knowing whether to root for him or fear him. From the original Dexter series to the continuation in Dexter, New Blood, the story has constantly reinvented itself, leaving fans both captivated and unsettled. Now, with Dexter, Resurrection, the saga has taken yet another shocking turn, and the Season 1 finale has left everyone talking. This time, Dexter finds himself in New York City, far from the Miami sunshine and the familiar landscapes of his past crimes. But the change of setting hasn't softened him. If anything, it has placed him face to face with a new breed of danger, one that doesn't just exist in the shadows but flaunts its darkness in the light of wealth and power. That danger comes in the form of Leon Prater, portrayed with eerie precision by Peter Dinklage. Prater isn't just a rich man with influence, he's a billionaire with an obsession. An obsession not with money, not with fame, but with serial killers themselves. To him, they're works of art, and Dexter is his masterpiece. The cat-and-mouse dynamic between Dexter and Prater was the driving force of the season. Prater, with his chilling fascination, saw Dexter not as an enemy but as a collectible. His mansion wasn't a home, it was a shrine to killers. He surrounded himself with the tools of their crimes, trophies of their brutality, and when he finally managed to trap Dexter in his vault, it was like capturing a rare specimen. The symbolism was striking. Dexter, a hunter of monsters, caged like one of the creatures he stalked. But Prater wasn't working alone. He had Charley, his bodyguard, played by Uma Thurman. On the surface, she was just muscle-cold, efficient, and loyal. But beneath the surface, she carried her own secrets. Her allegiance was never purely to Prater. Instead, it was tied to something far more personal: the care of her sick mother. This vulnerability made her unpredictable, and throughout the season, she hovered between ally and threat. Amidst all this, Dexter had to deal with the most complicated relationship of all: his son, Harrison. Fans will never forget that moment in Dexter, New Blood, when Harrison turned on his father and shot him. That act seemed like the final nail in Dexter's coffin, the conclusion of a journey drenched in blood. And yet, here they were again. A father trying to rebuild trust, and a son torn between hatred, love, and an undeniable pull toward the darkness they shared. Their dynamic in Resurrection was tense, fragile, and always at risk of collapsing. As the finale began, Dexter's situation was dire. Trapped inside Prater's vault while a grand gala unfolded in the very same building, he was seconds away from being erased without anyone noticing. It was a twisted irony: hundreds of guests celebrating above ground, while the most dangerous man in the building suffocated below. But Dexter has always been resourceful, and this time, it wasn't just his cunning that saved him. It was Harrison. Sneaking into the lavish event, Harrison once again became the deciding factor in whether his father lived or died. This time, instead of pulling the trigger, he opened the door. The symbolism was heavy. Harrison was no longer the executioner of Dexter's story. He was now his rescuer. When Prater discovered that Dexter had escaped, his carefully curated mask cracked. The hunter became the hunted. Furious and desperate, he seized Harrison as leverage, offering Dexter bribes of unimaginable sums. But what Prater never understood was that Dexter could never be bought. And Harrison, far from being a pawn, was smarter than Prater imagined. Hidden in the chaos was a weapon Dexter had cleverly planted earlier in the season, a sedative disguised as something harmless. Harrison's quick thinking turned Prater's own arrogance against him, and in a moment that stunned audiences, the billionaire collapsed, powerless at last. This set the stage for one of the most chilling sequences of the series. Inside the vault, the very place Prater had meant to bury him, Dexter transformed his prison into a kill room. The irony was poetic, and the brutality was inevitable. Fans who know Dexter's methods understood what was coming, and sure enough, Prater met the same fate as so many before him. Stabbed to death, his obsession with serial killers ended by the very man he worshipped. But the finale wasn't just about Prater's death. It was about what Dexter uncovered in the aftermath. In his mansion of horrors, Dexter stumbled across something far more intriguing than expensive art or rare collectibles. Prater had files detailed, meticulous records of serial killers who had remained free. Among those names was one that would send shivers down any investigator's spine: the New York Ripper. This mysterious figure had haunted the city for years, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unsolved crimes. The reveal was shocking not just for viewers but for Dexter himself. The Ripper had a name: Don Frant. A name unfamiliar, yet one that carried weight. It was a revelation that opened the door to an entirely new storyline. Instead of hoarding this information, Dexter left the file for Detective Claudette Wallace, ensuring that the mystery wouldn't die with Prater. But fans know Dexter well enough to realize this wasn't an act of pure altruism. Leaving believing the file was as much about manipulation as it was about justice. By involving Claudette, Dexter positioned himself as both a ghost in the system and a shadow always one step ahead. Meanwhile, Charley's story reached its own resolution. When Dexter discovered evidence of her crimes hidden in Prater's files, he used it as leverage. Cornered, Charley confronted her employer in a moment that flipped the power dynamic entirely. She demanded her freedom and financial support for her mother's medical care, threatening to expose everything if he refused. For a character who had lived in the shadows of others, it was a powerful declaration of independence. In the end, she walked away, disappearing from the bloody mess of New York, carrying her secrets into the unknown. As the final moments played out, Dexter escaped once more, this time aboard Prater's stolen yacht. In a hauntingly cinematic scene, he disposed of the billionaire's remains under the watchful gaze of the Statue of Liberty. It was a reminder that Dexter, no matter where he goes, always finds a way to hide in plain sight. But the files he carried with him hinted at something darker on the horizon, a future filled with new names, new targets, and perhaps his most dangerous adversary yet. And that's where the season left us. No neat closure, no promises of peace, just unanswered questions and the certainty that Dexter Morgan's story is far from finished. With reports already surfacing that Paramount is preparing a writer's room for season 2, speculation is running wild. Will Dexter finally face the New York Ripper head-on? Will Harrison continue to stand by his side, or will their fragile bond break once more? And perhaps most chilling of all, how long can Dexter continue to cheat death, outrun justice, and satisfy his dark urges before everything collapses again? If one thing is clear, it's this: Dexter may keep trying to reinvent himself, but his story always comes back to blood. And in Dexter Resurrection, that cycle shows no sign of ending anytime soon.